mission is addictive. To protect the American people and uphold the Constitution, that's not a great way to make a living, but it's an unbelievable way to make a life. And a president can fire an FBI director, but it's a big deal. And so I'm hoping it will never happen. I will be so sad the day I have to leave this mission and these people.
Boston College is a leader in thinking and educating on these incredibly important issues. So this is a great place to have it. Hope you'll do it many more times. You're stuck with me for about another 6.5 years, and so I'd love to be invited back again.
Well, no. James Comey, FBI director, fired today by President Trump. In fact, he was out in L.A. about ready to give a speech, a recruiting speech, was talking to FBI agents and found out that he was being fired watching a television that was inside the office there. He then got official word from the FBI here in Washington. Let's bring in our panel. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen, A.B. Stoddard, Associate Editor at Real Clear Politics, David Cantonese, Senior Politics Writer for U.S. News and World Report, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Well, let's start with this first panel about why he was fired. James.
James Comey was fired because to too many sets of eyes in the Congress, within the ranks of the FBI, out there in the great American public, and most notably at the White House and in the Department of Justice, James Comey had become a law unto himself. And this was most clearly demonstrated in this series of times where he gave congressional testimony, where James Comey seemed to make up Comey's rules as Comey went along as to what he was free to disclose about different criminal investigations and when he wasn't free to disclose things. And so he would tell lawmakers that he had special authorization from the Department of Justice to confirm that the FBI is investigating alleged contacts between the Trump campaign and the Kremlin. But if asked about unmasking or asked about leaks and other issues, he would say, well, I'm not authorized by DOJ to say anything on those matters, even though they too are of great public interest. Way back on July 5, he boldly told us, nobody at DOJ knows what I'm about to say. And then he launched that extraordinary moment where he sought to impeach Hillary Clinton rather than proceed with an indictment of her.
So, A.B., the administration points to the new Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, and a memo that is attached to the letter that President Trump put out, saying, I cannot defend the director's handling of the conclusion of the investigation of Secretary Clinton's emails, and I do not understand his refusal to accept the nearly universal judgment that he was mistaken. As a result, the FBI is unlikely to regain public and congressional trust until it has a director who understands the gravity of the mistakes and pledges never to repeat them. Having refused to admit his errors, the director cannot be expected to implement the necessary corrective actions. That's a direct response to his testimony recently on Capitol Hill, in which he said he felt nauseous about what happened, but he wouldn't change what he did.
Right, and the agency had to correct a statement he made about Huma Abedin's emails. That's an embarrassment. Everything James said about James Comey's credibility problem is true. And I think in the days to come, the why is going to be blurred if there is reaction from within the FBI, if we learn that actually inside the Trump White House this did come from Trump and not from President Trump himself, and not actually a recommendation made on this basis by the Deputy Attorney General.
In other words, if it was top down, not bottom up.
That's exactly.
If they were all
and
lying,
there are indications that this might have come from Trump. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens. There's a lot we don't know tonight, but it's the timing, obviously, that's more in question tonight than the why.
Obviously, Democrats putting out all kinds of statements. Chuck Schumer saying all senators need to be seated at the U.S. Senate for something tomorrow morning.
Yes, Democrats are pretty much united. They want a special prosecutor. I think they're going to bang the drum on this for weeks, if not months. Republican statements are a little more interesting. You don't have anyone out there really defending Comey. What you do have is questions about the timing. Senator Richard Burr, head of the Intelligence Committee, he has questions. Senator Jeff Flake has questions. Senator Ben Sasse. So you're getting these Republican statements tonight saying, we don't understand why he did it now. If President Trump really had a problem with the director of the FBI, why didn't he get rid of him on day one or week one in office? And I think this goes to your point. Was it Rosenstein that really believed this, or was it Trump? And remember, Trump was praising Comey on the campaign trail. 8 days before the election, he said Comey had real guts in re-invoking the Hillary Clinton email scandal. That'll be interesting to see if Trump can explain this now and give a different answer.
Yeah, President Trump now, then candidate Trump. Take a listen.
Is it too late now to ask him to step down?
No, it's not too late, but, you know, I have confidence in him. We'll see what happens. You know, it's going to be interesting.
Well, that's why I'm asking, why is he still in the job?
Saying, well, because I want to give everybody a good, fair chance.
It took guts for Director Comey to make the move that he made in light of the kind of opposition he had where they're trying to protect her from criminal prosecution. You know that. It took a lot of guts. I really disagreed with him. I was not his fan. But I'll tell you what he did, he brought back his reputation. He brought it back.
Charles.
Well, now he lost it again. Look, what is so striking is how on both sides you're getting, we've heard of situational ethics. This is situational sensibilities. When what Comey was doing was hurting Trump, he was a bad guy. Then when he did what he did, he was a good guy. The Democrats are even more hypocritical. Their reaction today, if Mount St. Helens exploded at midnight tonight, you would get within an hour 18 Democrats demanding a special prosecutor to look into the issue. Everything leads them to demanding a special prosecutor. I wouldn't take them seriously. Again, what they're talking about is smoke with, after what, 6 months, 8 months, a year? No evidence, no hard evidence whatsoever of collusion. I think the reason that Comey is gone is because, generally speaking, we say if you make enemies on both sides, you must be doing something right. Well, with him, he made enemies on both sides, and he was doing a lot wrong. And he had no one to stand up for him. In the end, he had so angered the two sides so many times, switching back and forth, that he was left without any allies. You can interpret this as Rosenstein coming in, and thus that's the timing, or as suggested by AB, Trump doing it, and if you were to do it that way from the top down, you would get the Deputy Attorney General to draw up the document, which would be the execution document. That's how you would do it, and we still don't know.
By the way, the reason the Deputy Attorney General would be doing it is because the Attorney General recused himself from the Russia investigation because of meetings he had with the Russian ambassador. So, where do we go from here? We'll be